Good evening, YouTube, and good evening, Galaxy Dreams. I just got a chance to watch a few of your videos. I wasn't even really aware that you even really did videos. I just saw you a lot on a couple of G-Man hangouts and whatnot, and very quiet, at least from the few that I've seen. And to hear this, that you're questioning, whoa, this kind of threw me back a little bit. Now, I'm assuming you're not pulling a G-Man stunt. You know, are you going to call yourself like Galaxy Atheist or Atheist Dreams? Well, actually, you know, that one's not too bad of a name. But I'm hearing your questions, and just like I would have been with G-Man if he had questions, or anybody else, whether they were doubting, fully Christian or atheist, and they had questions, I want to respond. I want to make videos. I want you to be able to make the best decision possible, even if it's not to be deconverted or to convert to atheism. I don't want anybody lying to you for an end game. I'm just going to share with you my personal experience and my personal thoughts on the matter. You know, whether this helps you or hurts one thing, or you go right back to being a Christian, that's fine. I just want to say I'm really happy that you're thinking. And not saying that Christians aren't thinking. I'm just saying that I'm glad you're taking this extra step further, that you're really weighing it on both sides. So, let's begin. This is the first little bit from your second video. You kind of started off with saying that you're hanging by a thread. And personally, I can tell you, I know exactly how you feel. I was a Christian, well, believer. For those that aren't satisfied by me calling myself a Christian, I was a believer 15 years. And it wasn't until I had started a whole lot of research and started really just researching so much. I mean, you can watch my deconversion video, and I'll link it below in case you're interested. And I'll never forget the final night. Man, I spent a solid month researching, and I think I said in the video maybe 220 plus hours of my butt in front of a computer, just watching videos and reading articles and talking with Christians and atheists alike on Reddit and stuff like that. And after all the research, I'll just never forget how scary it was. It was intense. You know, I was thinking about my family. What about my family? What if I'm wrong? You know, would I really go to hell for this? Would God forgive me if I came back? You know, what is it going to take for me to come back? I've seen so much and I heard so much. What would it take? You know, God, where is the evidence I need? God, I want to believe you. You know, something, give me something, anything. And that night, the final night, I literally devoted a whole month to it on a challenge from a friend that's a Christian. And so I gave the whole month, and I just broke down. Fucking broke down. I was on my knees. I was crying. God, please give me anything. Help me see something, right? I don't even remember the word, but it was something to that effect. And I was just, oh man, I was tearing up like a bitch. Because I didn't want to go to hell. I didn't want to be wrong. That shit's scary. And I got nothing. You know, and to me, that was, you know, and to this day. And I've actually done it twice since then. One time with my deconversion video that I had made. And I had done it again, and I still, you know, I got nothing. You know. And so, of course, Christians may say some things, but the point is that day when I was really calling out for God and I was on my edge, I got nothing. So I know exactly how you feel to be hanging by a thread. I grew up my entire life, well, at least parts that I can really remember, you know, around Christianity. You know, I grew up in that church. I did not have a dad. Really, that parents is split up. So my youth pastor and my brother-in-law had become more like my dad than anything else. You know, it was jarring because it was my life. It was my identity. It was who I was. I was the Christian. I was the goody two-shoes Christian at school. that didn't do anything wrong because he was living for God. It was my identity, and to be at that point, oh my, flying spaghetti monsters, it was scary. So I'm just saying again, I know your pain. Then you're saying that you're thinking that maybe a God could be real, but not the biblical God. I don't blame you. That's where I'm at right now. I'm an agnostic atheist. I personally think we can't really know that there is no God. Actual no. That I believe it's possible even that need to be a deist, such as or a type of deist God where some uncaring, just guy that just made the earth and was like, peace out, bitches, I'm out. You do what you want. Or God that maybe just, existed and died. I don't know. I can't deny that. I can't, or I can't rule that possibility out. So I don't blame you. Even if you were to convert to a deist. You got friends on here, I'm sure. Shanna, she's a deist. There's that guy, modern deist. I can't think of his name. Is John. He's on there. Talk with them as well. You can probably get some great perspective on that. If that's something that you think you may lean towards. I'm not even going to add it out. I'm just going to keep going. And you said that you were experiencing concerns, and you're not going to dismiss them, and good for you. Seriously, good for you. And I remember what got me started is because I would read the Bible, throughout I was growing up, and we would put on the biblical glasses. We would get told that there was kind of an end game. You kind of felt like, well, God is good, so therefore anything he does, even if it seems evil, is good. Killed a bunch of people, it was good for God. It was good for the Israelites. He was making for a purpose. He was protecting the Israelites. He was showing their promise at the expense of others. Even those weird situations, like when there's a guy that either didn't pay his tithe or pay his full tithe, and he held back, or he didn't pay it all. I can't remember what it is, and God just struck him dead. For some reason that was deemed as good. That's what you get for holding back on God, or some bullshit like that. But then, as I was in that month, I was deconverting. I decided to read the Bible again, but without the biblical glasses, and I decided to look at it from a outside looking in, third person, blank slate, never heard of God, never heard of anything, somebody that's lived life, but has made no, thoughts on the God claim, just never heard of, even the concept, they were just reading it, the Bible, as they saw it, and how did it change things? Boy, did it change a lot of things. Boy, did it change how I read things. I was like, wait a minute. So God punished a snake, but he's supposed to be, a God, and he doesn't know that this person's getting deceived. Why would he abandon his new creation? Why did he have his back turned when, whatever? Or if I accepted, maybe God's omnipotent. Well, why did he punish the devil, who's supposed to be disguised as a snake, like a snake, instead of, kicking him out? It seemed like God didn't understand. Or why, when God, in Exodus 4, I think this is what it is, he tells Moses what to do, and then like a few verses later, Moses is in a hotel and God's pissed at God for not circumcising his son, and is going to kill them, but then his wife Zipporah has to come in with a sharp-ass rock, cut off the son's foreskin, and throws it down on his feet. What the fuck? There's more of the question of what I was asking, and I think of, why is this a good God? Why would he do this? Why would he be so angry at this? To want to kill the guy that he just finished telling that he was going to free the Israelites from the... what if he had killed him? That would have been the end. That would have been the end of the story. Why do you do that? Why would an omnipotent being be so surprised? He's supposed to be, all-knowing and omnipotent and know everything in the future, or know all future possibilities, or at least not be surprised. things like that. And man, everything I'd read, it sounded incredibly human. So yeah, that's all I want to say on that. Just if you decide, kind of do a read through about that, try and change your view on how you read the Bible and look at it a little bit differently, and you kind of be surprised at what you'll find. Then you talked about devil. He was known as the accuser. Well, of course, that was the word Satan, which was also the accuser, and also the adversary, which is like when Jesus was talking with Peter, and Peter said something, Lord, why are you doing this? When Jesus was talking about that he was going to have to die, and Jesus says, get behind me, Satan. Satan meaning the adversary, as in, Jesus saw Peter's statement as a kind of adversarial. He didn't really think he was the devil. He was just using that term to mean an adversary. When I started to question as well, I started to figure out, well, okay, the Jews are the one that wrote the Old Testament. Maybe I should get their perspective. Maybe I should see what they had to say. And so, of course, you learn that Satan, the accuser, the adversary, was just an angel of God, and he basically just did his dirty work. According to the early Jews, they did not believe in the devil, because the concepts that we see in Isaiah and Ezekiel, if I remember correctly, where they talk about all those things about the devil, they're not about the devil. And if you're curious, I'll provide my video that I've made about that, or actually 2 videos about that, about how I think Isaiah is about the king of Babylon, and Ezekiel is about the prince of Tyre and the kingdom of Tyre, and and all the chapters that are around and before it are about cities and kingdoms that have pissed off the Jews, and they're saying like, hey, yeah, you may have done this to us, but we're about to get ours. And this is where Christians say, well, it was kind of a double thing, it was talking about a kingdom and it was talking about the devil. And to us, that's kind of a post hoc thing. It's just kind of just a justification once they've been figured out that it's not really about Satan. But again, I'll link that in the video now, in the description box. But the Jews did not believe in the devil, nor did they believe in hell. They believed in the grave, Sheol. This was kind of the underworld. This was back in a time where there was a lot of religions that believed in this sort of underworld. The Jews didn't have a concept of hell until they had basically started interacting with the Zoroastrians, which were the first religion to actually have a dichotomy of good and evil. And after a lot of intermingling, that whole concept of hell and heaven started to kind of grow. And this is historical, information. This isn't, I'm of course not doing the best job talking about it, but this is a real rough synopsis. Synopsis? Did I just say synapses? Synopsis? Yeah, whatever. Summary. Say that word. I know that's right. About the Jewish history. And again, you can talk to Jewish rabbis and you can talk about that. And that's just not what they believed. It wasn't until after the New Testament, in those times when they started really talking about the devil and hell and, all of these things. So that was another part that kind of led me away, because the Christians' explanations for the devil was just factually incorrect. And it was not according to what the Jews were saying. And if those guys wrote the Bible, then they pretty much know what they're talking about. So, I'm going to move on. Then in another part, you talked about that, say some Christians say atheists can't have morals. And you say that's, of course, can't be true, because you just experience reality, and then you get your morals. And I absolutely agree. If you've ever heard of feral children, you can look them up. There's like 10 cases. I mean, there's hundreds of cases, but there's 10 specific cases of really special feral children. Children that were grown up in the wild. And like one was found with like dogs, and one was grown up by like some kind of, like I don't want to say a bee, that could be wrong, but or more like a bird. It acted like one was raised by like chickens and shit, like really weird animals. And these animals took them in and took care of them. And the children were alive and special. Well, yeah, they're special. Alive and well. And they're even kind of morphologically adapted. Like one little girl's hands were all jacked up, and but she had really good posture for that kind of animal, and she was learning to walk on her knees. She had really tough knees, all this kind of different stuff. But when they tried to get them back into society, they had no moral concepts. They just didn't want none. They had enough, that would go for like their fellow animals. They were protecting their animals, and the animals were protecting them. Very basic things. And you would think if there was some sort of morality, like a human-like morality that was ingrained in us all, surely these 8, 9, 10, 12, kids, year old would have learned that, and that would be somewhere going on. But they have the morality of animals. But I just found that interesting. And then I was going to say I was really impressed with the atheist accountability for their actions, and then you say that, it's actually more true for Christians, and I absolutely have to agree. Some Christians, not all Christians, they can do whatever they want. And I'm not just trying to be mean, but Shanny is me, and Rand Campbell, they can do all these things. They can say these things, call atheists all this, and and like Rand Campbell saying all these things about people like Nadia, and making fun of homosexuals, calling them queers and homos, and just doing all these things, and then fall back to I'm not perfect, so God says we're not going to be perfect, but but I'm a Christian, so I'm forgiven. There's just those type of people. I'm going to say Rand Campbell's worse than Shannon because I barely know what she said. So let's just go with Rand Campbell for the time being. So Rand Campbell, people like Christians like that, can just say whatever the hell they want and then fall back to this position of, well, I'm not perfect. That is not an accountability. It's Christians like that it doesn't matter what they do because they're forgiven, and they can just do whatever they want, pop for forgiveness, and then they're good to go. It's an abuse of that. It's an abuse of the gift that they believe that God has given them. It's taking that Jesus had told them to do, and how to behave, and what to say, and how to act, and how to be a good person, and they're shitting on it. But when somebody calls them out for it, they just fall back to it. Like they're not supposed to be perfect. They're just expected to be, and they can mess up, and it's okay. I would have to say, when you say that, you don't know if atheists have more morality, and I agree. There's no, in general, atheists, in general, Christians are more moral. It comes down to the individual. A lot of these cases that we're seeing of Christians doing immoral things, it's the vocal majority in of these Christians that are doing these terrible things. And then there's a small minority of atheists, for one reason or another, doing terrible things. It's not the belief set; it's the type of Christian you're dealing with. Because we can come across some fantastic Christians that are great moral people that want to help people, that are humanists, just like the secular humanist counterparts. My best friend growing up, she is a Christian. She is a fantastic person. She is not the Rand Campbell type of person. And so Christianity, to kind of get back on track, does not have any exclusive rights to morality. We see atheists with it, atheists without it, Christians with it, and Christians without it. However, many of these types of Christians, these vocal majority, it's more of they're being more amoral than anything. They're not thinking morally. They're just following orders and calling it, because it's a moral thing to do, because God said it's moral, then it's obviously a moral thing to do. But they're not being a moral agent. But let's move on. Oh, that's right. I wanted to add. Many of these Christians, when they're doing moral things, if their end game is just to get into heaven, then it's really not all that moral. If their end game is to help people and make the world a better place, that's a lot more. There's a lot few more strikes in the win column, the moral column. But many of these people, it's about heaven. These type of people that say, you know, if it weren't for my Christianity, I'd be going around killing people. Those are the people you need to watch the fuck out for. These are the ones that get swayed by the slightest argument, that could hear a voice in their sleep, and they think it's, you know, or in their dreams, and they get a dream that a deity is telling them to kill people, and then they rationalize it by saying, well, God told people to kill people before, and I'm sure it's a test, and he's probably going to stop me right in the middle of it. That's the kind of people that really aren't being moral. That's the kind of people that are just blindly following. So then let's go on to the next point. Well, this is going to be a long video. I hope you don't mind this, Galaxy Dreams. I got to talk about that God can't be near sin, and you're absolutely right. God is supposed to be omnipotent. He's supposed to be everywhere, so that would mean he's in hell. He's on earth. He's in heaven. He's right next to the crack addict. He's right next to the prostitute. He's right next to everybody that masturbates, which is the entire world. Well, over a certain age. He is around all these people at all times, and he's aware of it, and he knew it was happening before it even happened. To say, and like you said, he was with the devil in heaven, which is kind of different, because like I talked about the Jewish understanding of hell, because at the point when when the devil was in heaven, he was not the devil, he was Satan the accuser. He was actually just an angel of God doing what he wants, doing what God wants. You know, because when you think about it, and I should have said this earlier, but I'm just going to go back to it, in the scriptures in Job where the devil is talking to God, and God said, where have you been? He's like, well, you know, just on the earth, going to and fro, doing whatever. The devil is checking in with God. If the devil was that bad and he had just been banished from hell, 1, why is God asking where the devil has been? 2, why is he back in heaven, like you said? But, moving back on. As far as being driven by fear, and that's how you're fearing things, I agree completely. Oh man, was I scared of hell. I was scared of my family. I was scared of the co-workers. What were they going to say? It's scary. I don't blame you. That's why I turned to YouTube. And this is why I do these videos. Because there are other people like myself that were just as afraid as I am. I get a message, you know, once a month. Or somebody replying to a comment or a video I made, commenting, and having the same fears, and you know, and thanking me for this deconversion video that I made, and helping them see things differently, because it's a scary situation. So, and that's why I'm doing this video, because I know it's scary, and you're looking for answers, and I may not be giving the answers that you're looking for, or, you know, it doesn't matter, but you were looking for answers, and I want to help. Because it's scary, and I want it to be less scary. Anyways, let's go on to the bits about slavery and rape and chauvinism, and God commands to kill people, and yeah, he did all those things. And they say, oh, you don't have the right to judge for that. Bullshit, I don't. If God is real, and he gave me the ability to make moral decisions and think of things rationally and think things morally, then he knows. And I'm looking at that and thinking, wow, that's kind of a dick move. And he would know that. But he still does it. And if nothing else, that doesn't show, you know, and the Christians will say, oh, well, you know, it's his nature to be good. So everything he does is good. Well, he commands people not to kill. So it's in its nature, so it must be in his nature not to kill, not to murder. But when he does those things, so the best you can say is that God is a fan of situational ethics. You can justify what he's done, and you know, but then that's a justification for, you know, a moral or an immoral act. It's justification for what he's done. But morality is dependent on the you know, more than one person. We have every right. Morality comes from ourselves. We experience the world, like you said, and we see that that doesn't look right. I don't like that. I don't think that's moral. We have every right to judge if God is moral or not. Now, our morality may not be considered objective, sure, but it doesn't mean we can't judge it for ourselves. But yeah, that's actually, I thought there was going to be more, but I think that was the end of that. All you said was, see, when it's all said and done, it's evil, regardless of how you slice it. I agree. I perceive it as evil as well. And it bothers me that a God that's supposed to be good has no problem with that. He's not even bothering explaining why he did those things. He just did it because he can. Alright, I'm sorry guys, this was kind of long. I know not everybody's a fan of the long videos, especially because, well, you know, whatever, they may not have that much time on their hands, and I don't blame you. But if you motherfuckers can hang out in 3-4 hour long hangouts, you can listen to me talk for 30 minutes. Anyways, Galaxy, like I said, I really, really hope the best comes from this. If it's you become an atheist, you become a deist, you go right back to Christianity, you know, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, this is not, I mean, I'm trying to help you. And there's many atheists out there that want to help you as well. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're Theological, true empiricism, whatever. If you have questions and you're looking for answers, we're here to help. We want you to see our side. We want you to understand what we understand. We want you to feel, oh man, for me, it was such a joy to not fear hell, to not fear that my family was, somebody that wasn't a Christian was going to hell. I'll never forget when my mom was so concerned about my pawpaw. My pawpaw had cancer. He was on his deathbed for, you know, several weeks. And all my mom, when she would get home, she's just like, God, I just want somebody to just go up to him and then he's going to accept God because I don't want to see him in hell. It tore her the fuck up. And even back then, I was a believer at that time. And I just sat there going, oh my God, this is miserable. The hardest part, and my grandpa is dying, and all she can think about is that he's going to hell for all of eternity. And I just think, why? Why would that happen? Why does God choose to do that? And how could I go to heaven, and how could my mom go to heaven, and know that, and think that that's a good thing, and just forget that my pawpaw is in heaven? Though that didn't really add to my deconversion, this is just a kind of just another thought. So, to live not really necessarily for myself, I found myself to being more humanistic and more understanding of people and, you know, whatever, but that's just me. So I'm just going to kind of move on. This video is getting really long again. So like I said, let me know if you need any help. We can do a private hangout. We can do, you know, chat. If you've got questions, I can give you a lot of things, a lot of videos you can watch, things you can read. I can answer a lot of questions myself. You know, whatever. Just let me know. All right, everybody. This is the Atheist Chef. So Galaxy Dreams and everybody else. Peace.